All right, so I got the meta-netter, but I want to relate it to life. It's been an issue because I have an issue with Western education, or I've been struggling with it, like Western society, and just like how knowledge is acquired. I feel like there's a fundamental, like, flaw in the whole process of how we get information and believing information and knowledge. And I feel like, so I marked a couple pages in the meta-netter that I'm like, I read this one paragraph specifically, like it was what I was really like looking for the whole time as far as Western education. And it's like, so it's like if you're only limited to give concrete verbal form to your feelings and beliefs and knowledge in the physical world, it's your faculty of separating things from each other and parts from the whole which they belong. Through the act of defining, describing, and naming, we saw earlier how this faculty, due to its inability to perceive the abstract relations between things and parts and their whole, creates such false concrete categories such as medicines and poison instead of like medicinal relations or poisonous relations. Like it's like giving categories, because medicine, it's not medicine, and poison is just, because the poison is a cure. It's just the dosage of like how much you actually take.
It's like the more you differentiate, the more that you're like separating like the question from the answer.
Yeah, into concrete categories such as medicines and poisons. And if studies were to be conducted on this premise, they will show that Western education is predominantly a process of providing definitions, descriptions, and names. And that. So the problem is aggravated by the fact that besides the creation of false distinctions, it thus deludes the person into believing in the existence of things that don't exist. So, he's saying the entire what he say in that paragraph, he's saying the entire Western education system doesn't. It's all like not real.
It's kind of like the Jay-Z line, like nothing real can be threatened, none real exists, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess ultimately that's like kind of like what Sebi was saying when he was talking about like the science of biochemistry being he said enhancing oneself with the words that are used to describe things. He's like that's essentially the science of biochemistry. It's just like vocabulary, an assignment of vocabulary,
just words to
So I guess it is just you get degrees. It's a degree of information. It's only a piece or a little shade of the information.
Well, and then so information, and we're calling it knowledge, and
I guess light or whatever, right? I guess because I feel like it's kind of like almost like the blockchain shit, where it's like it all has to get like organized. The light kind of, and you get to the next for it to like fully develop. And to express itself. It's like the. Because it's crazy. Like people really do have different parts of them activated, and you can see it sometimes when you see you see religious people or different people that have like faith in what they can't see. I feel like certain parts are activated, and it's like they can't get to the next thing until they get like a certain ingredient alchemically in experiences or whatever, or if they accept something or whatever it is they gotta do to where they can get to the next point. So it's like the light is like developing in people, and like you're like accumulating light. And like trying to, and only the truth can really assimilate. Like everything else is just gonna be like, it's not gonna really express itself in your body. It's gonna be more so like, and the lack thereof is what we call in the damage. Really, the lack of light is really just the body kind of just falling apart. It's like those pieces are missing over time. People haven't acquired haven't tried to haven't cultivated themselves to where they can afford themselves them experiences to where they can take the information in from a place where it's just they're looking at it as just light. And I'm the alchemist, so I'm organizing this in whatever way,
because they're dealing with distinctions mental
the whole approach is like crazy
concepts, and that's why I brought this up, because we're talking about the nature of truth. And it's huge when we're seeing like if this because I feel like it's really common issue. It's like this is like a really common issue about how we're not really ever going to get anywhere by acquiring more knowledge. As far as the truth being unseeable, ungraspable. But what is this? What do you mean? And that's why I love, because I brought the Medu Neter in here, because it's like there's a direction that this is going, as far as like seeing what's what, as far as the distinctions that we're making, and then as far as how we're identifying with that, and then as we become aware of how we identify with all our distinctions and definitions of what's what, then we become aware of where we're seeing that from, which is the true self. Because you're not able to see it if you are it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then as you start to become aware of it, now there's this other perspective that's developing that in the Medu Neter, this is what he's saying is the true self. And then we could start to disidentify with all the distinctions. But it's like when you're doing that, then you're getting into the Tao and the no mind, and being able to, process reality like in that way, to where it's completely unstructured attitude, completely open mind to what's going on. And then, with the cherry on top, you can have like your daily or weekly I Ching readings, and then just meditate with those and just be like open minded with that. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
For like it's applied information, and so it's like seeing the entire Western education system. And basically I feel like anyone who's using that prose of English is like, just because words are definitions, it's literally like a mind matrix of definitions. It's like only until you become aware of, like, you go through a period of becoming aware of how it works, and how your think, like sometimes you think in English, who's thinking in English, and then you're who's watching the thinker. So again, the more we're just seeing, there's like this true self and this not true self, the Sahu man, or just someone who's in the lower sphere of the tree of life. And how it's going. But I just love that. When I read that paragraph, I was like, oh, this is really what I needed. I had this intuition about how even just using English for a long time, I've had an issue with English, and like why, like if you're going to school, even if I'm reading, at like a 400 or 500 philosophy level, it was a top 5 philosophy school in the world. I was majoring in philosophy for a second, and I didn't even realize there were top 5 in the world at one time. It's like, even reading that, it's just like, if I'm reading right to left all the time. like just that alone was like, and like if I had recent ancestors who were, ancestors or what, whoever it was that was here before it was colonized with, they were using another language that was maybe, less syllabally and more wavy and, tonal, more tonal languages. Yeah. The difference in my consciousness is complete realities, different, just huge realities of differences, worlds apart as far as experience just of myself. So it's like having this issue with school is like, I read that paragraph, I was like, aha, this is connecting.
I know. I mean, could you imagine like writing down like click language? Could you imagine it? Could you imagine how that would be?
Yeah, no.
That'd be rough. But yeah, no, I guess it's the beauty of it, that you kind of can't. It's like, it's just like immemorable, but it's like unforgettable. But yeah, the language thing is really wild, man. I really feel like throughout the Hua Jing, like it says, like just realize the oneness and all that stuff. Like the oneness thing, I feel like I experienced it so many funny times, to where like it's not. Sometimes it really wasn't a big deal. Sometimes it was, it was a big deal, I guess, But to me, it's like from first person, I was like, wow, that was crazy right there. And like, I don't know, like I've been in them circumstances where I remember like one time when I was like, I was camping in the back of the property or whatever, and like I got this like, extra tent. It was like, kind of difficult. So I went without the directions and just like tried to put it up. Mm-hmm. And then like, I was just sitting up there. It was like kind of up, but kind of crooked. And I was just sitting up there, and I was just like, whatever. And then I started like getting discontent with like anything up there. Like, so I started just cleaning up the place a little more. Mm-hmm. Like, just because, from years ago, people had like thrown stuff away up there, just throwing bottles and stuff. So I started cleaning stuff up. And then like as soon as I gathered everything up, I like got it in the bag or whatever. And then I sat back down in the tent, and then like this crazy gust of wind came through. Like, as soon as I started like as soon as I started my breath session, this gust of wind came through and like pushed the tent up like properly, and it was like way better than, you know what I mean, the way I had it. I was like, damn, that's crazy. Like, I don't know, certain times like when it all clicks, like in the oneness of things, like you do this and then this happens and this is, and you can kind of feel your power, like, and where it's kind of like the oneness of just being one with everything, like, and that type of shit be reminding me like this one time when I was like 4 years old, man. My mom, she had me in her arms, and I was in we was in New York, and we went up in the Empire State Building up to the top where you can stand and look off or whatever, and my hat flew off in the wind, yo, and it was crazy. I just remember like having that hyper focus at 4, you know, just being sober as fuck, I guess, you know, just being at 4.
Yeah.
And I just remember like looking at the hat, yo, and that shit just came right back, and then like ended up falling out like right at my dad's feet. But it looked like it was going off, like, your shit's done. Your shit's going off the Empire State Building. And I just be always wondering, like, because there's been mad times with the oneness when I get into that moment of just like focusing, like hyper focus in the moment, and just being like vulnerable to the moment, kind of totally, and just being in it and not like shying away, just being totally in it. Yeah. Like shit like that happen, like, and like it'd be like, damn, like this is like the telekinetic power. Like how else would it manifest itself? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? It just was like I was young and untethered. You know what I mean? You just like your mind just making shit happen. You know what I mean? You're so more in tune with shit. Your energy's coming through a lot more like unobstructed, and like you make shit happen. You know that, and it just, you know, that type of shit has just happened to me like a bunch of times, yo. Like as far as like, you know, like just telekinetic shit, man. Where
nice,
yeah, like I'll be in the car, you know, you could just be in the car and it happen or whatever. You know what I mean? You could just, you know, if you really just be vulnerable to the moment, you can kind of make things move. You know what I mean? Like just really being light though, really deep into fasting though, and like really being vulnerable to the moment. It's like crazy. Yeah, like it's, well, really, I mean, it's different.
Vulnerable to the moment. What do you mean? Like
being totally present and like not having anything and just being present, like just being totally present. Like, you know, a lot of times you be in a car and like not really realizing like you're careening down a road or whatever, and like it just be like sometimes you be like, damn, this is really all happening. Like, you know what I mean? If you really like sit, like, because it be, you know, just being in the whip and just like focusing on, like, especially if you're not driving.
Yeah.
Because then you're just like really vulnerable to like whatever's happening, and then you can kind of just like accept that like you have control through not trying to control shit, kind of. And like it's like it's a funny thing I've seen through life and like synchronicity, where things would, you know, I would see like the direct, you know, just like a very direct example of the, you know, the work of the intangible. And so I feel like it just, every time that ever happened though was just like a great sense of oneness, where I just feel like, damn, I don't feel separate from anything, the wind here or anything. Like it just feels like I'm totally in this moment. I feel like kind of like it's in my body, but I'm like kind of beyond my body, where it's like if it happens in a room and I have like a synchronistic moment like that, where it's like, you know, or I'm operating really just from the oneness for like extended periods, because this happened too, like where you just can really see like it is kind of like a game where you are kind of like the halo and you're not the human no more, like when you're kind of detached, but like not in a addicted to detachment way, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you know, like it's like he was saying in Wahoo Jing, like you have the capability to inhabit bodies but not be attached to them, and that's like where I started to get, that's how it starts to feel whenever I get deep into, you know, the just being in the moment and fasting. Because like the more I'm in the moment, the less I want to eat. It's usually how it goes.
Yeah, it's not that often. Like, and I was paging through. I was trying to find the specific stanza, and I was just reading it like just like 30 minutes ago. Really stuck on it about superpowers, not superpowers, but you know, just like the telekinetic, telepathic. You know, these abilities, they only have use in the realm of duality. Yeah. Because in the oneness, all things are in their place.
All things are seen.
Yeah. At the same time. And again, it's just, I feel like that's why I really have never let go of this issue with what knowledge is and how much it actually obstructs what I feel like is this ability to tap in to the oneness, to where we can start to have experiences like that when it's normal. And it seems like really far from now for a lot of people, but what's between us is how we're looking at knowledge and believing stuff. Like,
Yeah.
like just how that happens.
Yeah, like I guess like kind of like how he says like the Tao. He's like, where do we look for the Tao and mystical thing is it? I forgot what he said. The Tao is not obliged to show itself.
So,
like,
yeah, as awe-inspiring miracles.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so common. It's like it's rugged and common, like the Tao. Like it's such a common thing that you take it for granted. You gotta really get light in your life to appreciate. Then the more you get light, the more you appreciate it. And some people I feel like kind of just force being light, you know, whether they just do it through having kids or whatever.
And again, here comes the Sahu man, with the definitions, and the distinctions, and like just grabbing onto all this about. And it's not, it's tough because like I reading the book, I would like the first time going through it, everywhere I went in public, I'd be like, oh, this is everybody, like, but it's not like I'm trying to like look down. And I'm still dealing with all of this. Like I'm still dealing with knowledge and confusion, just because of how I'm.
What do you say? 80% of the population Sahu, right? And then 15 was the Apsos, and then 5% Osars. I think that was what it was.
I mean, those are numbers, and it's like I could see
it's
that.
Like it's generally about right. Like,
yeah.
Like, you know, and I guess that's how it always be. Like, how could it be? And I don't know. Like, if it's another way, then I guess then people then there's no need to like really organize. You just like attract, and you just manifesting through dreams just rapidly, and you just I don't know. I guess you never really being attached to a body to make it want to crystallize. I guess.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's like but the thing is, can you imagine? Because you're playing on God mode. I feel like there's God mode. Like if you would like to will something to happen, you just do a certain hekau. You know, you're just like, I don't know. You really just intone that. You just you just incept realities.
I don't know, man. I really, you know, with Ron F. R. Men, you know, he says stuff like, you know, that you know, the good times won't last. It's just about having peace throughout all the times. So, like, you know, I guess it's just like really being like in touch with your core like that, to where you can die even, and you still be like, all right, well, I'm gonna incarnate myself, and I know this pattern is gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like, all Set is gonna resurrect Haru, and then you know we're gonna get up here to the top of the tree. You know, Osar is gonna be totally resurrected.
Damn.
And then you know that's like this is like the process of life, like over and over again. And like the I Ching is kind of like, I guess just all like the different ways to like spin that same pattern. Like,
yeah, in the lens of the I Ching, what I'm learning about now is about prizing the path and not what the path is gonna give me. Like, if I'm actually like it's like if I prize the path, then now what it's gonna give me. Here's what it is if I do it for a little bit and I get on the path and then I start getting stuff, I can't even enjoy those things, because then enjoying them, then I'm off the constant, you know, like change in there, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, you do gotta stay steadfast in the moment, man, because like. You typically, if you do, you really don't ever really want anything. It's crazy if you really can get, maintain your breathing, because the more that you have that pattern, I feel like, of breathing, and when you're coming to your end on breath, and like you just get more in touch with that. Like, oh man, I'm getting out of breath. My nervous system's about to start going away, a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, I'm starting to burn out. Like, cause I can feel the breath more. I need to take more breaths. So I feel like the more people do that, then the more they can like. Have a tolerance for, working things out. But right now, people are really in crazy nervous systems, man. Like they just like, they're really never, I don't know if they ever get into parasympathetic, or if they do, it's totally unconscious. I guess it has to happen. It's just unconscious.
Okay. I know the number on this one, and it's 44. And it's my favorite one. But it's just the perfect words for it. Being, So this is the nature of the unenlightened mind. The sense organs, which are limited in scope and ability, randomly gather information. This partial information is arranged into judgments, which are based on previous judgments, which are usually based on someone else's foolish ideas. These false concepts and ideas are then stored in a highly selective memory system. Distortion upon distortion, the mental energy flows constantly through contorted and inappropriate channels. And the more one uses the mind, the more confused one becomes. And it goes on, but at the end, this is huge. This is, because clarity and enlightenment are with their own nature, they are regained without moving an inch. And so when I wanna see that I'm getting steadfast on the path, and then I would get gifts from that, and then but if I enjoy those gifts, damn, it's kind of like I'm really getting into a danger zone. Like, okay, so because clarity and enlightenment are within your own nature, one need not regain an inch. So now it's like this sitting still. This is one of the I Ching hexagrams, as far as like how I really, if I'm able to just yeah, like if I can just sit still and not give in to any of my like thinking, then it's just like I really am starting to see how much doubt that I have, because any movement or any trying to do anything is assuming I have this doubt in the creative having my back. That's why I can't sit still, because my ego is telling me I have to do something. But I have to do nothing. I need not move an inch.
I forget that verse when he says, it doesn't help to do anything. This only enhances something. This is only enforces the mind. I forget.
I'm sure that was the same stanza. I might have passed over it. My bad for people who wanted to hear the other part of it. But yeah, to eliminate the vexation of the mind, it doesn't help to do something. This only reinforces the mind's mechanics. Dissolving the mind is instead a matter of not doing. Simply avoid becoming attached to what you see and think. Relinquish the notion that you are separated from the all-knowing mind of the universe. Then you can recover your original pure insight and see through all illusions. Knowing nothing, you will be aware of everything. Remember, because clarity and enlightenment are within your own nature, they are regained without moving an inch. And so just learning about it, if I feel like I have to do something and I want to sit still, I'm just getting used to being in that space of like ambiguous. I don't know when this is gonna pay off. I don't know and like anything at all. I'm just at first. I can imagine at first it's hard to be in that space, but then eventually your will gets stronger.
Once it works out one time, then you just get more. It gets more reinforced.
And your will, and then the self, the true self, and the will of the true self can get stronger.
Yeah, you just get more momentum, because then you just like you see more. You can have more faith in the miracles, because it's like you're like, oh well, I see the process now, and then you just get more in touch with the process. More in touch with the patterns of your process.
Yeah, all the way.
The incoming times and outgoing times and whatever else in between or whatever. The more you get in touch with the patterns of the highs and lows and the ins and outs, then it's just you can capitalize. I feel like it's all there to, I guess, be capitalized upon, because if somebody's giving up the will,
like God's capitalizing through you. God's capitalizes itself through you. Like, basically, as far as just being, if you just get into total relaxation, total uninhibited energy flow, then it's like there's really no difference between you and the mountains.
Yeah.
And like,
it's just really, you're part of it. You really do you merge with it all. And it's like what he say, he said that the master doesn't conquer nature, he becomes it. That's the only way he can conquer nature is becoming it. And like, I think that's really it. Like, that's it. Just becoming everything. Like you said, like if you wanna lead the people, you gotta follow them. So it's like you gotta really follow nature to become nature. And then the meta netter. You know what I mean? Well, netter nature.
Yeah, and that place is somewhere where I'm looking at like this is so scary, and like even just getting out of the dependence, because I feel like it'd be a nice transition to the conversation. It's just because I'm in shock, getting into where I can like be in nature for an extended period of time, a few weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, like, man, I'm so dependent. I've been so dependent on city, things in the city, whether it be like the grocery stores right here, right, or like other people are right here, just whatever's around the corner, just having everything. And then even just the buildings I'm in, the safety around me, or just a sense of safety, like, if there's some crazy shit, police would come or some shit, like,
It's crazy, man. Yeah, you really do gotta be your own cops, because if you call the cops, they're gonna get here in like an hour.
Yeah, and that's just dependency. It's just more and more dependency. It's all dependency on not the system. What's a good word for it? Just civilization. Domesticated humanity.
I guess. Yeah, I guess the yeah, it is dependence. You know what I mean? It like it's definitely a form of dependence, man. It's not like being dependent on nature and just moving with nature. It's like it really you're being dependent to the nature of like man and like certain men or certain women or whatever creatures. It's not like the nature of the creator. It's the nature of the creatures.
Yeah, and for me, if I had been dependent on all that unconsciously, to get into a lifestyle where I'd be totally dependent on nature, complete Tao. Not I don't know. Yeah. But that's frightening. From that perspective, it's frightening. It's like, man, and to even get into a little bit, it's just like, man, there's gonna be so many just phases of progression and regression, getting on and off the path, like through it. But it's possible. It's totally possible. But it's just, man, at first it seems literally impossible. Yeah. I guess until you get to the point where you just I don't even care if it's impossible. I'm gonna just anyways, but somehow something appears. That's right when you give up.
It's happened to me like that, man. I've been out there in the world where I was just like asked out, man, and things would work out, and I was just like, golly, man, this is crazy how this all happened, and divine timing, and I just can't, I don't know what else to call it, like like I said, I got stranded in France, you know what I mean, and I was reading Medu Neter 3 on the train, different things be happening to me when I'm doing different things. It's like. It's crazy, man. Like, it's really wild. Like, I remember, like, I was doing a scorpion when my dog had her first puppy. I was, like, just stretching. And, like, as soon as I got to the top of my scorpion, the dog came out. I was like, oh, snap. Like, certain things just all happen. Like, click, 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 click. And, like, it's just, like, you make the decision and then you create the ripple in the world. It's like you're investing in, like, an unseen investment. And then, like, so then, like, the unseen, it snowballs. You know what I mean? You get, like, a return on that, like, from
the unseen. Yeah. Wait, Sahu, man, I need to see it. It needs to be, like, it's all physical. And
yeah.
So, so these are intangible. You're only able to get that information. We're getting this information. These are abstractions from the physical reality.
Yeah.
There's nothing physical about what you're experiencing. Or just, like, what you're pinging with or, like, dealing with as far as your experience. And it's like, that's one thing. But to get into where it's constantly like that all the time.
Constantly dreamlike?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to see, because that's a goal. Like, I feel like...
Yeah, I mean, I'm cool with it being like a slow dream, you know what I mean? I'm cool with slow walking it, at this point, in my life. I feel like, all right, I just gotta pay attention and just keep reducing and slowing shit down. You know what I mean? Just like in my I was just too abrupt in like my behaviors at different points in my 20s. I was just like moving too fast, and I kind of like I just had to just move the energy that I was using in the other areas. Then I was having it like heavily invested in one area, where I had to like spread it in the other areas to like bring it around. You know what I mean? To where I get my cycle again, because it all like kind of comes back around, and where you can kind of exhibit whatever you want to exhibit if you put the effort forth, like as far as like your projects or whatever, and like managing your energy with them. Like, I don't know, just like the more that you get in touch with that, then the more it just shows you more about how it really is, how you get more detached from it, like as a person creating it. Like, this is all getting created, I guess you can at that point just only want to do what is, like holistic, like what is the best for everything.
Yeah, and then everything helps you out.
Yeah,
like it's behind you in doing that. And the only thing between, I felt personally like the only thing between me and there is doubt.
Yeah, it's definitely like a constant question of faith, like to invest in certain things, like that you only know, like, you know what I mean, that's only like I guess only on the inside at the moment. It's on the outside, I guess it's coming, but it's like, it'd be like in its germination, and you just gotta like be patient with it, or it'll just just never blossom. And
yeah. So it's now about like my firmness and my inner truth, and then I'm getting that by having I'm now not dealing with the physical reality, but what's behind it. I can like abstract information about what's happening behind that reality. Even if I got to the worst scenarios, it'll always like still you just everything at the right time. You know, having that, it's like,
yeah,
okay,
life will synchronize you. The way you're managing your energy, life's gonna synchronize you. So I guess if you know you're being totally honest with yourself, you're using your energy for everything that you dreamed of, or like working towards that dream that you have, then you know, I think that, you know, like it's hard to, you know, I think it's hard for life to deny you at that point. Life kind of starts to have to like shift, because you're like,
unless you identify with parts of you that aren't that,
yeah,
that aren't of the likeness of that. And that's the task all day, is like to stay on top of those. What I'm saying is inferiors. I'm working on this metaphor, because it's like a bunch of dogs. Like if I'm walking a hell of dogs in public, they can either be well behaved and walking, and when they see other people's dogs, they don't freak out and get they just fucking don't even pay attention. It's like that's the same thing with just all these aspects, these other aspects, to stay on top of them constantly, and to see how it's just so personal, how you can just they can take over, or you don't. I mean, it's like they're paper dragons. Like they're really intimidating, they're really insecure. Any lashing out is a defense. Why would you defend yourself? Because you don't feel secure. So it's like, and it's just like all these things. It's just like, damn. These reactions, if I'm on top of them, if I can be on top of them, then I can be identified with the part of myself. If I'm actually working to get to that goal over through a lifetime of like some perseverance, when there's gonna be a lot of things to like really pull me out of that, it's just to like stay steadfast and like be not even. I'm just so cool with just staying steadfast. Anything that comes of it, great. And but something comes of it and I start to enjoy it, fuck. I'm fucked. I have to like be it's the steadfastness that has to be like the highest value, it looks like. And then once I'm there, then it's like, then it's right, because then you're infinite potential. Then you know, if you're dealing with the tree of life and all that, then it's like,
I mean, like, if you got the things, enjoy them, you know. Just have peace when you don't got the things.
And be modest. It's just the modesty. It's a modesty to that. And yeah, I'm not, because I'm subscribing for a temporary time to just one. I'm just like looking at the philosophy of the I Ching according to one person. It's like Carol something. You know, it's philosophy of the I Ching. Just a book. You know, probably bookstore $7. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm just, you know, same time, you know. So there's lots of things that are super rigid in teachings that I feel like are definitely going to evolve as the generations like start to mutate.
Yeah.
And
the more people start doing readings and just like getting in touch with the lines, but as far as that, it'll definitely get communicated more in the memes and stuff in a really nice way. Probably just need more people doing readings.
Yeah, I mean that's next. Like I'm almost done like looking at the philosophy a bit, and then I'm gonna get more into the actual hexagrams and like look at it. So because I really want to do even a Medu Netter reading. Like we've had the cards, but I just don't have like the information, like the know-how of like how to actually, you know, work with them. And so
yeah, I gotta look at these things, man. Yeah, I don't know. I gotta talk to Pharaoh. You know what I mean? Exhaust my questions with him. See what's up with that. You know what I mean? And then you gotta look at these. It's nice, man. I was just thinking, like, I'm gonna draw all of these.
Cool.
Because, you know, like it's like what Pharaoh always be saying. Like, you know, people always thinking in language. He's like, if you start thinking in images and referring to images, then it's like a whole nother bag. Like,
yeah,
you can. You know what I mean? Because you just, what an image means to you can really light you up, supposedly more than, I don't know, I feel like it can, because, you know, I can just say some shit, you know, like as far as like whether it's biblical or whatever, and find strength in it. So, I mean, if you got like an ingrained image of power, you know, where you can really start, you know, taking it in a trance, where you're seeing it like throughout the day.
You're experiencing it.
Yeah. And then, I feel like that, then once you get that, like embedded in your mind, then, you know, you really start to light up that tree of life inside you, probably.
Well, yeah, it's science. Like, it's just like the brain, and like I mean, there's the spirit science of it, but it's actual like neuroscience. Like how, you know, it doesn't even matter. Like you can have people, everyone's seen this experiment where they just have people sit on a couch for an hour, for a week, for a few weeks. They just have them sit on the couch and imagine going to the gym, and then they have another group of people actually go to the gym for a few weeks. You know, have those groups, and the people who don't even go to the gym get 30% muscle increase of what the people who actually go to the gym get, just by thinking about it. Just think about it. And then the same thing with people who have memories. It's like if you're holding on to a memory and thinking of something, you could show television that was of like from like the 60s to your grandparents who were really young when they're in their 60s. And they have Alzheimer's, and then they start seeing their shows that they saw when they were younger. They start getting more cognizant, and like they're able to like process reality.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, man, it really be so much. So much of it is attachment. So much of this shit is attachment, man. Like learning languages. If you can attach some concept, some way to the language faster or whatever, or to the sound to the letter or whatever, the character or whatever, the more that you can attach things to like remember them, that's kind of like all this shit is, right? Like, cause that's it really. Like once I found a way to attach it or like create a language where something speaks to me, it's just like finding a way to translate, my will into that language, and then like and then it's really about it. Like it's just like becoming more literate in that language, whatever it is.
So these attachments, even religion, the etymology of religion is to bind back.
Yeah, really, yeah.
To like tie yourself back to something.
Religion.
Yeah, and that's why. So I just grabbed the Wao Ching because I'm pretty sure it's 57 that is talking about the net of energy rays, like these ties.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think he's talking about the Bagua or whatever.
Yeah, it's 57. The what?
The I don't know if it's Bagua or Bagua. The B-A-G-A-U-A. Is that what he's talking about?
The Medu Netter?
No, in that.
No.
He says the 8 energy rays, right?
No. This is just about the negative energy net.
Oh.
Like the net of negative energy. Because you're talking about attachments.
Yeah.
And so definitions, attachments, distinctions.
Yeah,
so this is in this stanza 57 of the Wao Ching. This is what they're talking about. It's a negative energy ray, and so it's saying the universe is a vast net of energy rays. The primary ray is that which emanates from the subtle origin, and it is entirely positive, creative, and constructive. It is entirely positive, creative, and constructive. This is the subtle origin, the primary ray. Each being, however, converts the energy of this primary ray into its own ray, and these lower rays can neither be positive or negative, constructive or destructive. An individual who is not yet fully evolved can be adversely affected by negative energy rays in the net around him. For example, the combined influence of several negative energy rays might cause an undeveloped person to believe that his life is being controlled by an invisible, oppressive ruler. This misconception can be a significant barrier to enlightenment. To attain the full evolution and status of an integral being, you must be aware of this intricate net and its influences upon you. So all these attachments we have. By integrating the positive harmonious, so this is just how to do it, harmonious rays, I'll finish it for the people. So by integrating the positive harmonious energy rays with the positive elements of your own being and eliminating the subtle negative influences, you can enhance all aspects of your life. In order to eliminate the negative influences, simply ignore them. To integrate the positive influences, consciously reconnect yourself with the primary energy ray of the subtle origin by adopting the practices of the integral way. When all the rays in the net around you, the rays in the net around you will merge back into harmonious oneness. So even religion is a device of man, and so to tie yourself back to something, that's probably like the main attachment. Because I feel like all problems in society are spiritual. So it's like some distinction or some attachment probably that's like contorting the rays in an inappropriate channel. Or just, some channel. You just convert the rays. It's just refraction. It's probably just refracting light. My bad. That's a bit.
Yeah, just somehow, I guess, bound up somehow. I don't know. Yeah, like, I guess, if you're just obstructing it with something, not letting the light through. Because that's, what did he say? He said evil... In the Stephen Mitchell audiobook of the Tao Te Ching, he's like, not that like he said, evil is like an opaqueness or whatever, like it's just like just an obstruction of.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just that in itself, to just always have it at arm's length, and know what it is.
Yeah.
So you don't brand it as evil. You can't brand it as evil because then it gets into you. So you just keep it as arm's length. Don't brand it. And then that's how, by knowing evil, you don't know evil.
Yeah, and you like you can embody the good, like you said. You know, the more that you can see through good and evil, the more that you can embody the good. Like see beyond them.
Yeah, and it's cool when it's like it's not like doing evil or doing good. Because a lot of people, if it's like looking at it, it seems like you have to take an opposite stance on good, but it's really you just like relinquish your attachment to doing good or evil.
Yeah, then you go from Lao Tzu to Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu says like, don't interrupt your enemy while he's destroying himself in the art of war.
Damn.
It's like Sun Tzu is like the art of war and Lao Tzu is the art of life or whatever, right? And it's just funny.
Dang, it's like
I feel like they complement. They really are great. You know, Art of War really is great, and it's a quick read too. But yeah, Sun Tzu for real. That's really what it is. Like I feel like that's what evil. You know, you gotta let evil destroy itself. The more you try and get in the way of it, the more it's not gonna develop to kill itself. Yeah,
that's what the withdrawal is in the I Ching. Is it withdrawal?
When what?
Or in the I Ching, is there a hexagram?
Yeah, withdrawal. Yeah, and retreat. Yeah.
Yeah, retreat. Yeah, because that's why you retreat when there's evil to the inner mental progress to let because if you do engage with it, it's just
It's like it's advancing without going forward is instead of advancing a yard, take a step back. It's better. He said instead of advancing an inch, it's better just retreat a yard.
Yeah,
that's what he said. Yeah, it really makes more sense. Like and just let things fall into place by stepping back.
Yeah, and then without being emotionally attached to.
Yeah, and the more you do that, I mean, if you get backed into a corner, then you respond, and I think life just knows. Life knows what's going on through your experience. Everything, and everything kind of balances out accordingly if it's all really done in a.
Well, you just meet them halfway.
Yeah.
You meet the experience halfway from that.
Yeah.
And if they don't meet you, then, hey.
Yeah, I mean,
your devices.
You're pointed. Yeah, you're saying you're pointed, but you don't pierce. If people want to run into the knife, it's on them. You don't have to like change who you are because people want to run into the knife. That's on them if they're the ones that want that. If they come into that.
Yeah, just got damn.
Pointed, but don't pierce. I mean, it's there. If you guys, if you guys if you want to run into it, it's on you, but. It's like you ain't
running around piercing things. Yeah. You're just but some people
it's just a knife, until you run into it. but yeah, it's like that. So, I mean, you're pointed, but you don't pierce. So, you're still like firm and your space or whatever. But yeah, like if people you're not gonna not respond if people come into that space. If people come into that space, then you're still pointed, so you're gonna, they're gonna get what comes with that. So I feel like it's just all about, really, I've seen it work a few times, so it all works. It's like once you see it work, it's harder not to do it. That's all people have to do is just see it work. Going through the likeness of the Tao and familiarizing themselves with it, and then having experiences where they see it happen, and or they can refer to past experiences where it already did happen. And there's no way that you can really deny it, or the more that you are aware of that, there's no way that you could live a life like ignorant of it and try to do certain things. Certain things like it really all starts to dry up for you. Certain ignorant things have really begin to dry up the more that you familiarize yourself with the likeness of the Tao through the Tao Te Ching or Hua Jing. It really is fingers pointing to the moon, but everybody gets lost in the finger, and they miss the
definitions.
Moon. Yeah, they miss the moon,
and that's the eighth sphere. People getting lost in the eighth sphere. Yeah. They can't abstract the knowledge about the unseeable, which is what the moon is. It's like the words, the words are just.
It's
just fingers.
Yeah, and people get lost in the words, what you're saying, who you are, where you at, all that stuff, and they miss everything that was said though. Even though they listen to it.
And that's just a microtrance. It's a microtrance.
Yeah.
Of being lost in what someone's saying.
Yeah, people are really hallucinating.
Yeah, man. Can you imagine society and movies? Yeah, movies and media and everything that's and all the food that's coming together into just a certain psychosis I am this.
Yeah, being an 8th grader or whatever, right? or whatever you are, whether you like a janitor or whatever, being in society and being one of these people, like you really are like in a slight hallucination. It's like Shutter Island.
It's a trip.
It's like really like Shutter. It really they're turning the planet more into Shutter Island, like.
Yeah.
And it's just like all these people like are really in a trance. You know what I mean? I be realizing when I'm in little loops. I'm like, oh shit, I ain't breathing. But like I know like other people, man, they're just operating, just going, just stimulated through it all, and just
Yeah.
just really moving when they probably shouldn't be.
So they're stimulated, they're getting something, and then what are they giving up? And it's that unabstracted connection to the primal energy ray.
Yeah,
Like
not needing to move and like feeling so empowered by not needing to move. People want to need shit. It's crazy, like how like it like fulfills the identity to be able to acquire.
Yeah.
It's wild how that goes.
I mean, that's what I meant. Is like if I can put that instead of trying to acquire anything, like only thing I'm trying to acquire is a really content sense that the best thing I can do is like be satisfied with just being on the path.
Yeah.
Like I'm just satisfied with just being on the integral path of self-development in the context of the I Ching.
Yeah.
Like just like the relationship with the sage and the creative, and then seeing how the creative is coming through me and like just being content totally with just having integrity with myself in there. And no outcome. There's like no outcome I can want, and then I can maybe get out of this get out of Shutter Island, but like it's just like to want. Yeah. Huh? Like I'm still dealing with it. I deal with it every day. It's like, I want some raw Fresno, but I get there, and every time I go there, after the more breath work I do, the less I get fulfilled by it, or unless it satisfies me in that way to where I was getting it in a false way, or it wasn't.
It doesn't taste like nothing.
It tastes like something, but not as much as my mind was really like fetishizing it to be in my mind as I had been wanting it, But it's just like, yeah. But shout out Robert. No, I'm still gonna go there. And all that, and have it, at the times, I just space it out, so I don't ruin it for myself. Boom.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah. I feel you. Nah, I was gonna say something, but I was gonna say the way you feel, man. Like I guess like what you would like to experience. Like what would you like to experience in your life, and like focusing on that. I guess is like what how that would feel and what the
feeling it would give you.
Yeah, like it's just kind of like
if you think it would give you.
If you have a plan or something like that, like people want $1 million, but it's like you need to be manifesting a plan or an idea to be able to use that for to help whoever you want to help or do whatever you want to do. It's like the more that you manifest that, the more that life will start to bring that to you. Other than that, then you're just gonna have to like rely on the will of other people more instead of like being able to meet people in the middle. Yeah, if you can meet people in the middle as a creative. The other way, you're gonna have to rely on parasiting people, or other people just gonna be totally in control, and like of your vision. And it's like, people need to not be so focused on the ends. Like at the same time, they just need to look at what they need, operate from what they would genuinely want to feel, and then from there, life will start to push that towards them as long as they're sincere and like, all right, I don't want to step away from this feeling. Like what means this to me? In my life, and just be honest. What brings about this feeling or these feelings or whatever, or these experiences that are rooted in this wholesomeness. I feel like that it's just hard, I guess, if you've never had any experiences that have brought about like certain
no reference,
something in your body to where you felt like whole like that, with the experience and with everything, and like you can kind of have a compass to operate from. But like the more that you have that, though, the more that's why it's nice sometimes. Like whenever I meet a female that I can see myself actually like spending some time with, I'm like, damn, all right, cool. It's just if I actually like a person, it brings me back into that compass of like actually liking certain things, and then like it just shows me, like it just gives me more perspective on where I'm at with certain things, just because like I once I can get like it's like almost like a spark plug into like remembering why I'm alive.
Yeah.
Like
the reason for living.
Yeah.
What was the reason for coming here? For the enjoyment of life.
Yeah, for the enjoyment of life. Yeah, you know, like so like yeah, it really be like that. Like they give me that reference point, like when I'm or whenever I just like experience love or whatever in any way, whether it was a family reunion or whatever. It's like whenever I get that reference, I'm like, damn, this is what love is inside of me. I know how this feels, and this is not that. This is further from that. Like you can maybe be the right brand for somebody else or whatever, but that's like that's not. We don't connect like that, and so I be knowing, you know what I mean, and so it's it really be like just operating from that genuine feeling of like wholesomeness and like togetherness and like oneness, like what that I've experienced in my life, like using that kind of as a compass of where I want to go, forward. And I feel like the more that I like remember that and like am in touch with that inside of me, the more that I can like life starts to like give me the things that I need to do to continue to experience like things of that likeness.
Yeah, and it's a total energetic reality, and that's what I meant by the science of it, because it's like you could really basically have a whole scenario that's creating a feeling in your body. Like, okay, like if you won the lottery, if I told somebody, oh, yo, you won the lottery, and the endorphins, the rush, the feeling, it's like they're sitting there on the couch, like they could, those chemicals are ready to be, like, to be, what's it, secreted? I don't know. Those chemicals are just, they're there. It's in you. But you now wanting to one, it's like, in order to get those chemicals, something in the concrete world needs to happen before you can get what you think will make you happy. But you just had the feeling, says Joe Dispenza, in like becoming supernatural and how to change, or well, it's like the how to change the habit, breaking the habit of being yourself. Was that one, breaking the habit of being yourself, and then the one after that was becoming supernatural. But yeah, it's just all the neuroscience of this, and like really how you can just totally see the mechanics of it and just start to root your whole point of focus to just actually just creating the feelings first before the thing happens. And then the more you do that, the more you're transmitting that in the quantum field, which they're measuring now in different brainwaves and stuff, and then just like they're like, oh, okay, so now it's science. So we're saying there's like spiritually, like have the faith, and it's not even the faith. It's just like relinquishing your disbelief, and then not even trying to have faith. It's just like let go of the disbelief, and then it's there. But it's just like that makes sense spiritually. But then also physically, now there's science. They're saying that something will happen. You can actually do like supernatural things you think are supernatural, but it's just super. Yeah. This is extra supernatural, but it's just like.
But like faith, man. Faith being, Fe in Latin, and being Fe on the periodic table is iron or Fe or whatever, and it's like the full circulation of the blood. The blood being iron. You have the full circulation of the blood. You're an Iron Man.
Dang.
And so
just
like
unshakable faith.
Yeah, and another reason.
Unmovable.
Yeah. So they say female is Fey male, Iron Maiden or whatever, and it's like, it's really wild, like how that is, man. Like they say that qigong too, like the iron shirt and everything. It's like when the blood is fully circulated, like there's no way for you to not have faith or whatever, or for you to have doubt.
That's probably how they be doing them, like iron elbows and stuff.
Yeah.
In the martial arts.
Yeah, breaking shit. Yeah.
Just like they focus all their consciousness at one point.
Yeah.
And their bone, and it's like.
It's total faith.
Just iron fist, iron elbow, iron. They do like iron noses or like iron foreheads and shit. Like you could do any part of the body. You could train any part of the body.
Yeah.
I learned this. It was like not how to do it, but I was like learning about it. It's just crazy.
Yeah, the circulation, man. I think that it's all like they be focused on the chi. The more that you do it, you'll get in touch with it. It's like inevitable. If you pick up any martial art or something, or that you'll get in touch with the chi or the breath, one way or another. I feel like you got to. It's gonna happen. Like the more that anytime you use your body or your whole body, that you're gonna get in touch with the breath. You're gonna realize like, damn, I'm not breathing. I need to breathe.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen. And yeah, just the more that you change that cycle, though, man, the more that you can really get a hold of it. Like, you can really see, like, damn, man, I'm really behind or whatever. And I could really be in this place with it if I really just made this change or whatever, or added.
If I did something.
Yeah, added 20. If I added 20 breaths to what I was already doing, what's already in place, instead of, like, trying to tackle shit crazily, you just, like, just enhance a little bit on what you're already doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just all enhances itself. Like, the more we just, like, let go. It's just, like, even then, it's just, the body is tough because it's just stuck in atrophy from trauma. And I think that's probably the next problem to tackle for everybody on a collective level. I feel like it's just undoing all this, like, mass trauma we've been going through.
Yeah,
you know?
and yeah, you'd be able to really trust a body that has full circulation, you know what I mean? But when the circulation is not full, you know, and they got parasites and hella fungus, you know what I mean, or whatever, it'd be like, man, this is like
All these false beliefs.
Yeah, it's so much. Like, the body becomes such a traitor because of what it's harboring.
Yep. They'll become...
Yeah.
Yeah, the mind and the body become like trapped snakes.
Yeah.
When they're emphasized to the exclusion of the spirit.
Yeah. Or the other ones not, you know what I mean? They all can be that. You know what I mean? Whatever one that you overemphasize will be like a trapped snake, and it'll be like a traitor. One way or another.
Man, people get sick.
Yeah.
And like I feel like that's the final thing, is just getting sick physically. As the body's like, nah.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, you know, you really don't realize how sick you were until you stop. And you don't really realize why you was getting sick until you stop. It really is like, you know, until you like fully stop, then you can like see like why you're going. And then it's like damn, man, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing this, you know? Like, you gotta kind of come up for air off of any addiction or whatever you're doing repetitively. And every time, you know, you do it and do it long enough, you be like, damn, it all started because of this, and I did it. Like, you can kind of see it more, like, you know, from a different place.
Yeah, the I Ching's saying that addiction is just an inferior, and it's like a part of the ego, and you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess you could look at it like it's just a lower sphere on the tree, whatever you're identifying with something that's coming through that part.
It's like, but it's coming from, and it's coming from a defensive place, like, because of the trauma. It's like it's a response to out of self-defense because of the trauma, and it just doesn't, once it takes over like that, and then it becomes like an addiction to where like you don't want to stop doing it, but you don't know what will happen if you stop doing it. That's that inferior. It's like protecting that. It does not want you to see, you know. It's just this paper dragon. It's literally a paper dragon that just will scare the fuck out of you. But it's literally, it can't harm you at all. At all.
Yeah.
And like, but what's behind it is like you can get back to that original innocence.
Yeah, and truly, and not needing more. The more that you don't need, the more the better you feel. The more that you don't need shit, the better you feel. I feel like, you know what I mean, one way or another. If you truly don't need some shit, you know, it's like you're gonna feel better and better.
Like, all you need is to not need.
Yeah.
Which is just to be on. The goal is just to be on the path. Once I'm on the path, it's not even that. That can't even be a goal. But yeah.
It's like because you're never off it. You know what I mean? It's just like, I guess you just.
Oh, but when I get back on, like if I purify my spirit afterward, like I'm innocent, and then some stuff happens, and then I get my innocence back. But then once I get it, now I have to persevere to keep it. And persevere. I have to like actually just be constantly persevering.
Yeah.
Yeah, to actually like stay on it, to stay balanced and like identified with not my desires and emotions and distinctions, you know, the lower man, but just identify with the self. And then it's like, and then I just grow that will, you know, from that, you know, dang, and I can master over the inferiors, not master them, but get them in check to where they're not, you know, having me engage in this habitual activity, you know, a bunch of times, like, you know.
Yeah, it's a wild challenge, man. Like, you really do get challenged. Like, you start to get challenged like immediately as you complete one.
Yeah.
So be like, damn, man, next one, man, and you're like, well,
what were you trying to get?
You know, you're gonna feel better once you're done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, once you like truly figure out certain challenges of not needing, I guess, like, you be like, damn. So, you know, again, I just had to reduce and step back or whatever. And then you're like, damn, so it's another challenge, and then another challenge. Like, yeah, it's never ending. Like, everything's got never ending. And then the more you get wisdom and spiritual power, the more that you're like content with the challenges.
Yeah, it's just prizing the challenge. It's like I feel like it's just getting to that point. It's like, yeah. And
more wisdom, more power.
Well,
like every time you get a challenge, you're more wisdom, more power.
Yeah, easy. Yeah, for real. That's all it is. It's just knowledge. Well, not knowledge, but spiritual wisdom. Yeah, and so that's where it's like, you know, being able to have it go through experiences where I can kind of like go through a few stanzas and then see where I had been dealing with certain aspects or what, you know, on and how I've been on and off the path. I had no idea. You know, that's the only way we could talk about it. I feel like, because if it's Tao Town, it's like, how do we even talk about the Tao? Like, it's so, like, every time, if I would try to sit down and, like, actually, like, okay, I'm going to talk about the Tao. It's like, wait a minute. Yeah. I'm like, dang. But there's a lot more to it, especially, like, connecting, you know, the Tao and the I Ching and the Medu Neter. And, like, to get a different type of perspective, you know, that's relevant to now.
Yeah, it really is a blessing to have a hold of all of these gems at once. Yeah,
I mean, in the time where, you know, maybe 1,500 years ago, the thought of even touching this type of knowledge from the spiritually degraded perspective, you know, when it's like to get your hands on this type of information 1,500 years ago in a book. Yeah. If you were just in the valley somewhere, you know, you couldn't even get. You know, that's why I love the internet's dope. But yeah.
Yeah. You know, man, and I'm glad that that printing presses exist and all of that too.
And that's when it started picking up.
Yeah, it's nice that it's there at all. You know, they've all reached, you know, around that same time, man. Reconstruction, man, the mid 1800s. You know, they got a lot of, you know, Wilhelm and them translated a lot of that shit into German, and then Baines and them translated it into English. A lot of them Eastern books, and then you know, around there for our men, man. I guess I don't know how much studying or where he went to go get this to study things or what he did, but yeah, he got like a bevy of information. It's ridiculous. Like, wow. I wonder, you know what I mean, for him to have like consolidated into these 7 series, and then it's like 33 other books or something like that, and they're like really like, you know, put together books. I've read probably like 10 other of his books. I'm like, man, these are all pretty good, you know. Some of it's redundant, you know, some of the stuff. Because he's like trying to drive things home.
Yeah, it's methodical.
And all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm seeing some huge, maybe just another shift in the convo, just to the information access. Because I brought up, you know, I said quantum field when I mentioned Joe Dispenza, and like, and we really didn't have this much information, and just the studying, the value of the study, that actually like is really behind a lot of different actions that, you know, that are going on. It's like, damn, if we can see where we were going as far as our level of conscious evolution and growth and personal development, you know, when it takes, you know, a certain set of like information about how to actually do that, you know, like that wasn't accessible to the mass amount of people in any other way but the Bible in a book for the past few thousand years. You know, there's probably like some family Bible, you know, that's like 1,000 years old or like 800 years old. And, you know, if you were even able to read, you can get your hands on a book, you know, and likely the book is just the Bible, and there's not multiple, you know, other perspectives to like compare and start to abstract stuff in a different way from. But it's usually, it could just be one Bible. And then eventually there came a time when there could be like a printing press with multiple books. Like books could just be made for you because that's what it was. Is that it was so expensive to make books. It was so expensive to actually get a book. Like the only way you could have a book, have a library, is if you were rich, like super noble. And then like even then it's just like, so once the printing press came, then books could be way less expensive, and then more people could get information on stuff. And then then it became like news, and then the information kind of proliferated and how you get the information to people. And then, you know, but it was so centralized, the information was centralized, but the access was getting faster, and then the internet hit. in like in the 90s, and the whole time on a graph you could see like an exponential curve of information access, but then also just awareness, like self-awareness also naturally, like there would be information access, you know, going up exponentially, you know, self-awareness going up, you know. But if it's an exponential curve, where is that going? And that's like, that's supposed to be the singularity of like the quantum, that's the quantum leap. As far as like, okay, we're now not dealing, we're instead of dealing with reality from it's just physical, now it's like it's energy, right? It's like a field that's so many things are moving subtly, you can't possibly like know it, but through our experiences, you know, with, you know, the Medu Neter and like the I Ching, the Tree of Life, it's like, dang, we're seeing, okay, we're seeing these subtle things that are working. there's this subtle realm. Yeah. there's actually a subtle realm, a subtle inner realm, and now we're getting to this point, like, damn, like, yeah, this is actually happening. And then, you know, and so what it actually would take to get to the next level is just to be exposed to that pattern. You know, what it would actually look like in practicality. I feel like when people are actually, you know, but you know, there's no purpose for telekinesis, you know, like, you know, there's no like true from a divine cosmic perspective, like, or, you know, it's just like, it's just a total different set of laws that I feel like are being, now they're sort of like phasing in as an older, more false set of laws is dissolving. If it was, I saw this cool meme, it's just like all the laws, it was like a horse tied to a plastic chair. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like a really tiny plastic chair just there, and there's a horse just tied to it, and it's just the plastic chair is just the laws, like the legal system, and the horse is just like, you know, the horse could walk away, and it's just it's a tiny chair. It's these laws, like, we're really attached to these laws of how things are, and through each other, and I just feel like what's next is this leap into this what we can't imagine, you know. But it's like how reality manifests itself. Our children will have total faith, not total faith is, yes, it's faith, but in a firmness in your inner truth that you are the creator, and to entertain the idea of doubt, you jeopardize all that. Like you jeopardize your whole creatorship in that sense when it's actually like that, just by going into doubt and that fear, and then that just opens us up for harm. If it actually is all subtle energy, it's a hologram, yeah, sure, but it's like subtle quantum energy, quantum field. You know, we really could be being on a whole nother level, but it's just these doubts and these beliefs. You know, to actually deprogram all of them. It's not even deprogram, like that word's overused. It's just like, but to, you know, even just relinquish trying to deprogram yourself, right? You know, to not move an inch to get the clarity. You know, so it's just like, dang, how. It's just so cool to see. It's really cool. I feel thankful to like even get to this point, because it's like if I take my whole life and consider my whole life and all the shit that happened for me to get to this point of awareness, if I were killed right now and I needed to go through it again in another body, like I need to go to another body to like get to this point again. It's like, damn.
Yeah. I wonder if it's even possible. I wonder if you know. You don't ever experience that. I wonder if that just never happened. You just have like dreams you don't remember, and then you have just like a missed opportunity to experience more of, you know, being able to tap into
the boundless
quantumness. Yeah, and it's like, I don't know. It's funny, man. I think like people all when they reach that state, I feel like it's all the same. Like it's like kind of like everybody's reaching that like Osar state or Amen state or whatever, or the Ein Sof. Or the Nebuchadnezzar, that state where you just like completely one with everything. Like, I feel like, you know, because like Bobby Hemming will always say, like, you know, everybody in heaven is one. So I think like if you really will yourself into that likeness or whatever, and then, you know, you reach that state, or whenever you do reach those states, like you just amplify that state or that you know, that and I feel like I guess you would ultimately welcome that more and more. The more that's happening in life, you know, it's like you know, it would just be more beneficial to the oneness of heaven, like, you know what I mean, because it's just like more is more kind of in that state I think.
Yeah, I mean, in the I Ching philosophy, it's saying that's the goal of mankind, and that's where and it's saying that when you're being the sage, or you're like, you know, you're connected with the sage, aware of that, and you're dealing with your your branding of people, your inferior's brand. If your inferior wants to brand people as like evil, or brand someone as like they deserve punishment, or brand someone, you know, it's like these things. But if you keep in mind the ultimate goal of humanity is that unity, then you can just withdraw without emotions in a way to where you know that then you get that, then they can get that mirror and they can see that mirror for themselves. But it's just like, because it's so hard to like not take it personal when people are acting like that. you know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's so hard to not separate from people and get so differentiated out of that, in that separation, you know, forgetting that the whole goal here is to come together, you know. And so it's like, it's just like, dang, I mean, I could really see just, yeah, that's really, I can't really put words on how great that is. Like, I was, oh, that's great. I was like, I was like, that's great. But man, I mean, it's just, with that in mind, it's like I can see my next relationship as being, you know, it's a serious relationship. If it was that, it really just is like really knowing that like anything can be done and accomplished. It's just like staying on top of on those inferiors, and I'll find a better word, but those dwarves, you know, it's just those aspects, those lower aspects of ourselves. You know, if we it's just like we get over identified. You know, in Joe Dispenza just says, you know, once a certain behavior, once you know, something could happen to you. You know, someone does you dirty, and you stay in a mood about it for a few days. And then, you know, if you're in a mood, if you linger in that mood for too long, for maybe like a week, it starts to become a temperament. And then the temperament's there for maybe like a few months, and then it's a personality trait. And now it's just this inferior, this lower part of you that has the steering wheel on your identity, your self-identity. That's why it is a lot about self-development. It looks like just in the philosophy of the I Ching, that's all it is. Just talking about, but it's just the identity. It's developing the identity out of being identified with these inferior or lower aspects. And then, you know, the more we get into our will and we're firm in our inner truth about what we're actually trying to do here, then it's super easy to respond to anything in the moment. Like, just being unstructured about it on principle. Yeah. And it's just being on principle like that. It's like, dang, like, okay, I can see that. I can see that, you know, rationally. But again, it's just going to take, like, going through experiences and having pressure, literally having pressure put on my ego. And then when the pressure's on and you're struggling with the will and the addiction, that's when you can deal with your inferiors, because otherwise you can't deal with them.
Yeah, that's the only arena they can show itself.
Yeah, is when you have that pressure on you, and then when the pressure comes off, see how quick you'll start to just go back into, you know, or just start enjoying, you know, whatever has come out of that, instead of just like staying steadfast and just being cool with being steadfast in that constant, you know, changing. And it's just like, damn. It's like, damn, I'm really like seeing this. Okay, how could I get into it? It's just gonna be a trance. It's gonna be like everything else is, and totally. And then how it looks like is like if you're working with it and to do something. Now you're from this perspective where sometimes you get this inspiration out of nowhere, you know, to do things, you know, to where it's like, damn, something took me over. I did way more than I thought I could doing that, you know, because the creative like got behind me on that. You know, I didn't realize I could even do that much. Like, as far as it's like shocking at first, but eventually, yeah, it just probably just gets more and more, and it has to be slow. It has to be like a slow, gradual transition.
It's like you take one step and it takes two steps towards you.
Yeah,
I feel like the more that you take a step, that lifestyle comes towards you twice as fast as you go towards it. If you genuinely take the step, you know?
Yeah, and it's cool in the Wahoo Ching where it's just like, you know, only men and women of the Tao increase their service along with their understanding. So it's like, dang, like it really does do, like, you know, it seems like that's like I would want to do that. To as much as I get, you know, if I align more and then just more responsibility comes, then it's just like I could take it. But if not taking the responsibility, it just feels like a lot easier, because then I can just, you know, that from the perspective of the lower self who's been in that habitual behavior, you know, to where I think this is me, you know, I think it's not, you know, so it's
so ingrained,
like, yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, just just the awareness, just becoming aware of it, just reading about it at first, then you're just starting to become more of who's learning about it instead of becoming, you know, what it actually is, and it's just being in it. It's just like looking. Yeah, I like the vision of the snake and just being on the ground, and then you can have like an eagle above you. Yeah, you know, and like,
yeah,
you see.
I mean, yeah, it's like you know, look at like right now, I remember you saying like, you know, it's the association with me instead of calling me it. The body should be it instead of me. And like if you look at it like that, like this is what it wants or what it thinks, you know, and then it's visualizing, then you can kind of. I feel like
that's that image.
Yeah,
that's that image you're talking about. Like
you can discern. I feel like when you have like placed the body, like instead of like identifying with it as the me
mentally.
Yeah. Just as the it. Like it
Yeah.
wants to fuck.
Yeah, and but there's chakra centers. You know, like there's energy. There's just like. Cause I was thinking, I was just meditating earlier. It's like I'm not in my brain.
Down.
Like there's hella intelligence like all throughout the whole body, and they're all just working together. It's just like, you know, I really have been talking from the mask my whole life. Like I finally have it. I have it quantified. Cause I have a video. Like it's not a video. It's just a sound clip of me doing the 11 laws. But it's after me going through a lot of time thinking about doing this. But I finally do it. I like wake up. First thing I do when I wake up, my voice is actually like my whole body's relaxed. And then, you know, there's probably some mucus to where it's kind of like in there, but my voice is lower. My voice, I'm speaking from my actual core. In the morning, like I'm totally relaxed, speaking from my core. I could hear that. And then who I actually, that voice that has been talking for like 80% of the time my whole life, to where it gets really bad in some parts where I'm really just trying to get approval, you know, from people, or just like it's not even that, it's the unconscious need for approval in a situation where I feel insecure. The voice will just go speaking from the mask, and that's where I'm mentally identified instead with just up here in my brain instead of with all my energy centers like in my body, and where I'm like I'm really feel is my you know, my balls might as well have eyes, you know, because that's what it is. They're just inner eyes. Everything, they're just inner, like so it just even my, you know,
you just
my
burn
gut,
you burn that ether
my solar
chakra
plexus
out.
Yeah,
the more you talk from the mask, the more the ether chakra gets burnt out, and then the heart can't really express like it wants to. It's just like burnt. It's the next one up, so it's just like suppressing the one below it.
Straight, and and that's just being like looking through the eyes, being identified only with the physical world, and then from the head neck up, you know, and being numb in the body, you know, just like be like emotionally numb, all that stuff. It's like it's like it's really showing like there's even just it's like phantoms in the body. There's like multiple reality of just impulses that are just acting out of like the wills, convincing you that you need to do something about the situation instead of you actually like being through the situation. You know, it's just like all these phantom nervous systems that even just walk around and move, but they're all just like out of this like false sense to like do something out of doubt that everything's not happening exactly how it should. Like it's just like I'm just like yeah. It
just keeps showing, life keeps showing you what you put in like constantly. And you're like, oh, okay, all right, I gotta change what I'm putting in if I want to get any kind of change. And it's just like it's really just like unavoidable, man. Like life will rearrange itself based on if you really put it in. If you really put the energy into something, like, and it's really like in accord with your growth. If you have those two things going for you, life will definitely rearrange whatever. Yeah. Every time I've ever seen it, it's just like you just gotta have the faith in the process of like the miniature process of like if I do this today, then I'll do this tomorrow, and then I'll do this a week. And
it's that subtle realm.
Yeah. And just having that like the daily, weekly goals or whatever, maybe even hourly goals.
I feel like it's not even that. The goal is just to be unstructured in the moment. Totally, you know, like that's my goal. Yeah. And then that stuff happens. But it's like with the rationality serving, like, oh, I should, get the like.
Once you surrounded yourself with, you know, the materials that where you can get lost in a trance pretty much of just like producing or learning, then
integrity.
Yeah, as long as that is all like once you surround yourself with that, then those cycles will just like happen of themselves.
So there's just some false motives though. That's just all. So it just can't. And so that's just finding and dealing with and seeing the pressure for what it is, so we can make those changes, those corrections, and where we're coming from in looking to actually align completely, like if it was like pure Tao.
Just operating from the zero attachment. Because
any other place of operating to do something. It's really it's really just some original point. Like, you're not, everything isn't happening as it should. You're not good enough as you are. You need to do something to like be acceptable, or you need to do something for the situation to improve somehow. Like, it's not already like
Yeah,
like,
yeah. No, it's just, but it is
from
all,
a cosmic perspective.
But then it's always like the master always makes use of everything.
Yeah.
So it's like you're constantly having, blessings or whatever you want to look at it. Jewels that you gotta polish or whatever. And I feel like if you don't make use of that stuff, then life really starts to decay. And it's just like getting in touch with cleansing your body or whatever, getting really back to the childlike you, so that you can get in touch with all of these like jewels that you have that you could be polishing, and that you would just be experiencing the Tao through that, like through that nourishment of that, and you'll just be more a part of that relation. The dancer can't be separated from the dance thing. The more that you do the things that's really in accord with the childlike you, the genuine you. It's it's like limitless energy for that. So like the more that you get in touch with that, the more that that you're gonna be able to really experience like limitlessness, because it's something that you really enjoy, like from a childlike place, and it's something that you could just do. Like, and if you have them tools, that you would be doing these things, whether you had money or didn't have money, rich or poor or whatever. It's just something that you would do regardless, because it's like breathing.
Yeah, there's no separation between the work
and
the recreation, and that's huge.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, I see it just being like because I mean, it's where there's the I Ching saying that there's always going to be these dead ends that we get on. And there's these challenges. So we could be childlike and get there and get to that childlikeness, but then also just as much as they're gained through, that's gained, you have to persevere to maintain that now. Like, I feel like just because of the nature of life, it's gonna give us challenges continually. I feel like, or yeah. This is what it looks like.
Yeah.
So,
and you gotta be constantly prepared to give up everything.
Yeah, and so to maintain the childlike part still, but that's just having an open mind. At the same time, it's just, but it requires perseverance to stay there. But it actually can happen, and it's just like it's just living just to enjoy life, for the enjoyment of life. And it's just as far away as we got from it, though. That's just like how treacherous it feels like just getting started. But man, it's once you're in the groove of that pattern, then it's just now it's like really getting to that trance. It's just actually it's that transmission. You got that new transmission.
Yeah, I don't know how you can experience the Creator and not enjoy life if you're just like constantly reminded. You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be like, oh, that's right. The oneness.
Oh yeah.
The oneness. That's right.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking like it. But can't expect or imagine what that is, because it's the unknowable. Or the infinite potential, the unknown. That's what I really love about really seeing that. I feel like that's when it really took off for me, learning about just occult information, but just spiritually, to lean into the fringe of like limitation, to see that it's like, dang.
Yeah.
I almost forgot. Hold on. Oh yeah, the unknown.
Yeah.
It's just, but the unknown. There's something everyone misses about the unknown. Is like, out of all the words, I feel like this is the coolest word, because it's just like you can't know it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's the unknown. Like, so if it's unknown, can't know what that is. So people fear the unknown. Like, people will say, "I fear the unknown." How?
Yeah.
How do you? How? You can't do that, because you can't know what it is. It's infinite potential to what it could be. And I feel like, as far as human knowledge goes, if there's something on the other side of it to what you can know what it is, that's infinite intelligence.
Yeah.
Like I said, like that's infinite potential. That's signifying something that's infinite. If it's organized, which nature is saying, which is telling us now, it's organized. Like, it's just through the heart and the system working. Just just choosing stuff. It's just like, okay, so it's organized infinity, and it's intelligent, and it's imbued everywhere, and we're in the net of it. It's just like, and so as much as we feel like we're not it, that's just where we're separated in our mind from ourselves.
Yeah.
In Shutter Island of I'm this person,
Yeah, and I mean, and then it's
civilization.
like that's the thing. I feel like with darkness and infinity, they're one and the same. And like when you're in darkness, it doesn't matter where you are. You can have a thought of anything, and then you be like kind of experiencing whether it's fear or joy or whatever it is. Like, but when you're in like a room, like it's kind of like bound. The emotions are kind of bound by whatever the room or what the place is expressing in a sense, like. Because it's like in the light, you can see it. You know what I mean? When it's daytime and it's in the light, everything is kind of, you can see the tangible, what makes this and that. But when you're in the darkness, then you can kind of get lost in like time and space can get more suspended because it's all just, there's no separation. It's all dark. When everything's totally dark, then the sense of no separation is just a lot more apparent. And like,
yeah.
And it's so like,
so that's the womb, yo.
Yeah. Like, in that darkness, it's like, you can really just get in touch with that infinity, and I guess that's why a lot of people are afraid of it, because if you have fear or whatever and you go into darkness, you just gonna think about infinite fearful things, and so it's like
wrecked.
Yeah, like if you're not in touch with the darkness,
that's how evil works.
Yeah.
The vision is like there's this snake coiled around a tree. Okay, first there's this cat.
The evil's just gonna keep you in the light all the time, like all the time. Keep your shit, like your body just ringing, constant things getting ringing and projected onto your body, just keeping the light always bombarding your body, so you can never really get into the darkness. The light just constantly trying to like, stay here. I'm not the real warmth, but just stay here.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
wow. There's another. It's a metaphor. It's just like a cat. There's a mouse and a cat. This cat just keeps knocking this mouse out, and every time the mouse wakes up, the cat just knocks it out again. But once the mouse is unconscious, it's not paying attention to the cat anymore, so the cat loses interest. The evil's only interested in you if you give it attention, like. And then so it's just people are constantly waking up every day in fear, and then it attacks them. Yeah. But if you didn't do anything, and then another one is just like there's this tree, and the snake on it. There's two birds, and the snake's literally about to get this one bird that's afraid of it. The other bird, it's not even paying attention to the snake. Yeah. Like it's like I don't know, like
yeah,
it just doesn't get the one that doesn't care. Like
yeah, you're making your greatest will wants you to experience that, because you don't really deserve to experience anything if you can't get past this. So you need to get past this. You need to get through this. So it's like trying to go to the next grade or whatever, and it's like your will just keeps holding you back, because it's like, no, man, you have to get through you have to experience this to get through this, and people don't look at it that way though. They're looking at it like it's like being punished by by the circumstance, but it's like, no, this is just what needs to happen, so you see the results of it.
It's like, it seems like they're trying to get through it, but they really need to get into it, or like like just accept it. Yeah. Like instead of trying to get away from it, yeah, it's just like trying to run from yourself.
Yeah, like just completion of moments, you know what I mean? Like if you're going through them as they happen, it's not so bad. You can kind of, as long as you stay paying attention, you know what I mean, you're always gonna see the balance of things. And
if you love challenges, it's pretty easy. I feel like, I mean, over time, once you get used to that in that trance, of just like, yeah, this is a constant changing, unchanging experience. And so my best strategy here is just to have a totally unstructured attitude towards everything as it comes.
I like to challenge myself.
Straight up.
So it's like, you gotta, am I gonna make the most of this? These breaths that are coming here, and do the next 20 this way or whatever, or tack on 20. Whatever. It's like, well, how can I make the most? That's like really what virtue is. Like, how can I make the most of it? How can I make this better? How can I make everything better than what it is when I got here or whatever? Or make the most of all of this. So, like, I can enjoy the process because I know I'm making everything better. So that just feels better. And then, things just get better. Everything really is better.
Nice. Yeah, it's an inside, but that's inside out.
Yeah.
That's how you do it, inside out. it takes. It's like it's practice. It's a practice, and the change and the progress is slightly imperceptible, or it's like necessarily imperceptible. It's just super slow. It needs to be slow. It's like, is that? Do you feel that way?
I mean, I guess it's like different strokes for different folks. You know what I mean? I don't know. I guess some people. I guess certain parts of your process might be fast, and then other areas, might be different. It's like kind of like the Bozzy thing, man. You got like a day master, and you got like your weeks and your month and your year. The influences, the elemental influences that you got, and like it's like different when certain things line up. Then you're gonna have like certain powers or whatever, but then you're gonna be more inclined to abuse certain ones if you have a different imbalance in the elements.
Yeah. Based
on like what's being given to you, and then you just gotta balance the elements, and really do the healing sounds of the different elements. Like I can really see like, damn, like, man, when you be lacking in wood or whatever, or whatever it is, you really gotta do the sound. Or if you have too much of it, you gotta like tone them down and use the other ones and use the counterparts. Like,
wow.
And it's and it really is just like each one begets the next one, and like
that's what the All-Star does.
Yeah.
Like to do anything, like they just do this different, whatever sound corresponds to what they want to do.
Yeah. It's
it's an inside out creation.
Yeah, it's dope. Like how everything, serves everything. So like you can see like how your elements, like which element creates the next thing. Like fire creates earth. And then earth is creating metal, and then metal is everything is creating the next thing or whatever. And then if you have this element on you, then this element in abundance, whatever it is, then you know that it creates this. You know what I mean? If you have an abundance of water or whatever it is, you know like that you should use it to create this next thing, to create this next element, to expand the next, so that you constantly have the elemental flow in your life, like based on whatever you got going on. And if you're living in like close to nature, then it's like kind of obvious when you got like a lot of water element or fire element, and then you can see like in the different times in your life, like the way that your temperament in your body kind of shifts with the seasons, and like how you got like a different elements to you, and then like how every element has its like yin and yang to it. You know what I mean? It's like yang wood and yin wood, and yang metal and yin metal. They all got their own. Like you can see like the different times like of the year, and like how they're all associated, and how it all makes sense. Like metal being autumn or whatever. Like how it's like the different the fruit is now coming off or whatever, and it's like the totally attractive period. Metal being a radiant, attractive or whatever, magnetic. You know what I mean? Like each thing, like each and then the animal association with the elements is so like it's so dope, man. Like how it is like. And how if you were just observing life, balancing your elements, then you really see the animals as not separate from you, and then they're just showing you like different patterns in you. Yeah. And then you can just observe life, and like I think like having that kind of access to life, of just being able to observe life like that. Yeah, like that would be like the dopest like experience. You know what I mean? Where anybody that's doing that, anybody that's going out.
There's no English thought there. Yeah. There's no like. There's no one directional thinking.
Yeah,
all directions.
You really don't see the separation, like like you can really like, damn, there's a self in there. There's a self that is myself in there. You know what I mean? It's like it really is like there's this common self in all of these fucking things, and I'm not seeing something that's not me really. So
and I don't reject it. Yeah, or avoid it. Yeah, or attach to it.
Yeah, what is it showing me about me? And then it's like if you're looking at life like that, then it's so much harder to like to hate anything. I feel like or to like want to offend anything. Yeah,
it's highly impersonal, and it's just all a mirror.
Yeah, and it's just like the elemental flows of things. Like there's different scenarios require certain elements. Like it's just alchemy, and like if that's not there, then somebody's gonna have to compensate, and in some way, some form or fashion, something's gonna have to happen to make the life proceed. And like the most gentle way you can do that is the most intelligent way. And so it's like, wow. Yeah, it's just that's what I feel like. That's with the character traits and the personalities, to just be like, it really is elemental balance. Like overemphasis of certain elements and then underemphasis of other ones. Like just as default, it's gonna happen if you abuse one part of the star of elements, like because they just beget the next one. You know what I mean? One element creates the next one. Like water creates wood. You know, and then fire. Fire destroys the wood and makes earth, and then the earth makes minerals. Metal. So like it is like they all the way that it all like cycles is just like so perfect, man. And it's just like you can it really is your whole life. Like everything is like that. Like every day when you wake up, it's like you're going through the 11 laws. Like you're coming into existence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you're going from every part of the tree and lighting up the tree.
From your dreams too. You're coming into existence from your tree. From your dreams.
It's like the same pattern in and out.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the I Ching. Like, you're going through probably the same. I'm sure of it. You're going through the same 64 hexagrams in a day. It's happening at some point in little microwaves, because like it's every 2 hours is a different animal. So then it's probably like even more microwaves of them managing it. Like the masters, the true masters or whatever that was like writing the I Ching and stuff, King Wen and all them, they probably had it even broken down. Because if they got astrology broken down to all them little degrees, I know like they've definitely brought it down to like, the ways that they could look at this mathematically, or however they break it down even further.
Man.
Like to where they can see like to the minute what happens in the body in relation to like your day. And what the I Ching is, like which hexagram you're in, probably, or which little mini hexagram that you're in with the bigger hexagram, with the bigger one, and like then you're in, you're your yearly influences, and it's like all different elemental influences, and the more that you can like balance it, it's like elementary school, the more you balance it, then like the more life gives you, and then like they just it gives you more experiences of where you got to be, to exhibit humility to where you can gain more. And then it's like, pleasure share, pleasure double or whatever. And then more people going through the same processes that everyone's inevitably going through, but in a conscious way. And then, then just, the more that's happening, the more the communication will just be
complete.
Yeah. Like, I feel like the same way that you feel like when you like are on a high dose of any psychedelic or even on DMT, I feel like my communication with life is just great. Like I'm communicating like really like it's not blocked in that moment like at all. Like I'm getting full, and you just feel like you don't
more bandwidth.
Yeah, it's like you don't. Yeah, I would assume that like the more that you're like present throughout the cycles of the I Ching, and your days and your years, and you start to see the patterns and all that, and you're really getting in touch with the elements and the way they change. I just assume that it's just more of that kind of feeling of just being like I'm communicating with everything like. This is happening because of God's will, and it's not separate from me and my will. We were so tightly aligned. I'm so tightly aligned with the will of nature and of everything.
You're like cemented to the primal reality. Like you become you like phase into the primal reality of like the whole like the complete perspective.
Yeah, and certain laws just like can't be bent.
No.
And so the more you do that and commit to that, the more that like life is gonna have to shift
around you.
Yeah, because it's like you connecting to all your fragments and all the people around you and everything. You're really going in this direction, and then you make it fathomable for other people, and then
it starts to get normalized.
Yeah,
and then people start having babies, and they open their eyes and they start looking at that happening.
Yeah,
like hey, this is what. Hey everybody!
Yeah,
this is cool.
Yeah, these
I don't know any other.
Yeah, I mean, and then the more people are respecting the flows, they just like they're respecting themselves because they there's no separation. They're really just observing themselves, in the seasons and the animals and the insects and all that. It's like you really just if you're looking at it like that, then it's like if you don't see self as self, then what is there to fear? And it's like everything takes care of itself. When you like are present, because then you like are taking care of life. Really, like the more that you can be present, the more you take care of it, and then everything takes care of you, and it's like one hand wash the other.
And again, where does doubt fit into there, other than your demise? Other than or is a fate? It's a fate. This is a very unfortunate fate.
Yeah, doubt's probably just coming from like when you're like something's not aligned in the stillness, like whether like maybe your body's like artificially still, and then. So your mind is still going though, but like when you get everything kind of like still, where your mind's not racing or whatever, then I guess that's when it happens. Because that's how you can go into doubt. I guess when you're just not in the moment. The more that you're in the moment, you're just in the moment, and then like things are just happening. And
like, why would you doubt that you should be somewhere else? Or being somewhere else, not being present is doubting that you should be here.
Yeah.
You're literally doubting that I should be here right now.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's the way it is. It's starting from that, so it can only end at that, really. And so yeah, you're just not in the moment. The more you're in the moment, then things just happen and they come of themselves, and then you reflect on it. I guess once you reach a period where life is just like still, and you're in the double kin trigram. I mean double kin hexagram. You're just like, oh, it's just keeping still. Let's just reflect right now. I get, you know what I mean. Then it's appropriate to reflect. You know, and it's not like you're reflecting when you like should be advancing or something.
Straight up. Yeah. This is huge. And speaking of advancing, we should keep at it. Should keep doing that. And I feel like this has been an incredible conversation.
Yeah, man. Yeah, truly. Yeah, I can't wait to see what they got to say for ideas, I guess, next one.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, we recorded a little half-hour piece of content for the Patreon, just about the tantric lifestyle. Really dope, but people asking questions on there. And yeah, I mean, at the end of all these podcasts, just want to plug the Patreon, patreon.com/Towtown. We're on there talking, getting more specific. I feel like just more specific about just different, different bits of the lifestyle, what's going on, just out here.
Yeah, truly. So, all right, I guess, just the Patreon and the info's in the description.
Yeah, we'll put the emails, Instagrams there. Follow me. I'm about to start putting more stuff on Instagram too. I've already been posting on there. Just little Wahoo Ching reflections. Nice. But Mathematician IG. If you want to go follow there too. But yeah, we're out here.
All right then.
Cool.
Shit. All right, man. Yeah.
All right, man.
Another one for the books.
Straight up.
It's not that time, pups. You got another hour. Get down, my yo. Get down, my yo. My yo.
All right, and thanks for watching, too. Everybody. So I had the gratitude. Yeah, thank you for watching. And we out.